My name is Ivan Marks. The film you're about to see is authentic. Herds of goats come and perform a ritual suicide. Sure enough, the goats were there, looking as if they were grazing normally, but actually eating pounds of dirt. With one gulp of water, the earth turns to cement, and they die, lying in the shadow of Bigfoot, etched in rock 26 feet high, and the wolf, his only known traveling companion. Well, I told my brother-in-law about the wild Bigfoot story, Kodiak. He said, "Don't be so quick to make judgments. There's something I want you to see." He took me to what Indians called the land of petrified wood. There, carved in a rock, were drawings of a creature with big hands and big feet, exactly as I'd heard Bigfoot described. First the ranchers, now my brother-in-law. My head was reeling with Bigfoot. The stories are just so many words, so I soon forgot about him, till I was up tracking a mountain lion. There it was, finally, face to face with Bigfoot. Here was the domed head, just as others had described it. The thick, dark fur to protect it from extremes of weather and allow it to pass unnoticed in the night. I saw it, photographed it, but scientists challenged my film. It had stood up under every conceivable test. Some reveal rugged terrain as the cause of the skin heals, polio as the cause of the limp. But my documented evidence wasn't good enough for the experts. Experts, who still asked, how could such a creature survive? Where does it live? Show us its remains. What does it eat? Experts, who challenged my word but claimed credit for my film and profited by it on lecture circuits. I plotted all the reliable reports. There actually seemed to be a migratory pattern extended over thousands of miles. If this were true, I'd have some means of predicting the creature's movements and a good chance to find some answers to my questions. Bigfoot always stayed in very rocky mountains and isolated terrain. As usual, nature provided me clues. I saw these two little ground squirrels so much in love they took no notice of me or the dangers around them. The male's natural instincts drove him to cover. These same instincts started up in the wounded squirrel. The old miner's story told how the glaciers up there were the burial grounds of the Bigfoot. That would explain why there were no remains. The creatures carried their dead over thousands of miles, just to deposit them in crevices that opened up in the spring and fall. Can you imagine? One man told of the strange day his mother died. In a cabin like this, family and friends gathered to await the passing of her spirit. That night, they heard a soft scratch at the door. There was Bigfoot, chanting in a strange tongue. Everyone was terrified. The spirit of his mother was speaking through the voice of Bigfoot. They must abandon their homes, which they did. The next day, an ice floe changed the river, and waters now flow where the village once stood. Herds of goats come and perform a ritual suicide. Sure enough, the goats were there, looking as if they were grazing normally, but actually eating pounds of dirt. With one gulp of water, the earth turns to cement, and they die, lying in the shadow of Bigfoot, etched in rock 26 feet high, and the wolf, his only known traveling companion. Then a movement in the woods. The sun hadn't come up yet. It was hard to make out what I'd seen at first. There he was, Bigfoot, standing no more than 100 yards from my blind. I began to shake all over. I could barely keep hold of my camera. He was awesome. Then behind me, another one, smaller, possibly younger. How many of them were there? Was I surrounded? They were the most extraordinary creatures I'd ever seen. I now knew why the Eskimos called Bigfoot the king of the animals. The older, larger one was 7 feet tall, 450 to 500 pounds. His domed head and long, dark hair, just like the other creatures I'd seen. His odor was overwhelming, the same thick, musky scent that first led me to Bigfoot so long ago. The young one was no more than 5.5 feet tall, 250 pounds. He'd probably never seen a man before. If he saw me, he could panic and attack. Then I looked around and realized the other animals were carrying on normally. If danger was around, they would have fled. Just as the Eskimos had said, Bigfoot is a benevolent creature. I'd done it. Here I was again with Bigfoot. Unchallengeable proof my theory had worked. Now we can begin to understand the place this creature holds in nature. A raccoon came out to start his day's hunting. I knew the nocturnal Bigfoot would soon return to the cover of the forest. said goodbye to this mysterious creature that has somehow outlived its natural role.